Hello, we're in the beautiful Milano, and since you are Milanese, we would like to talk to you about this wonderful city and also about what makes it so great.
Okay, I'm not completely Milanese because I wasn't born here, but I was raised here since I was like 2 or 3 years old. So from kindergarten to now, I've been living here. And I think that for many decades, Milano was the center of the industry in Italy. So it was a kind of gray, dull, busy city, but with not great charm. And this charm exploded in the last 5 or 4 years. The skyline of the city changed, and also the lifestyle changed a little. So Milano passed to be a necessary evil for people who had especially some jobs that could only be, interpreted and made here, like jobs in communication, fashion, design, to a city that's interesting for everybody, even for people coming from outside. It's a tourist destination, which is something that we could not think it would be possible only like 10 years ago.
I understand that something like Fondazione Prada, for example, a new building in Milano, is a perfect example of not only a very new, modern construction, it's a great architecture and an extremely 21st century, and at the same time a destination for modern art and modern cultural events.
Yes, Fondazione Prada is a very good example because it's something very organic. It comes from a company that's Prada, that was born in Milano, that became one of the most famous fashion brands in the world, and now they decided to restore an old building. It was an industry of alcohol. That was abandoned in a neighborhood that was almost abandoned, and now Fondazione became a museum, a very important museum, one of the most important museums for contemporary art in Europe, I think, and also a nice destination for for the weekends. Families go there, like they go to, I don't know, Pier 1 in New York, or many museums in America. It's a change of lifestyle also.
Years ago in Milan, you would say that the best thing in Milano for someone who works there is the train to Rome on a weekend so that you could go and get some culture, but you don't have to do that anymore, right?
No, you don't have to do it anymore because the weekends in Milano became very interesting because there are so many events, from exhibitions, art shows, to concerts and theater. Not that before they weren't, but we have a new coolness. I don't know why, but we have a new coolness. I've always loved my city because it's my hometown, but also because I like its discreet beauty. Milano is a place where not everything is so blatantly beautiful like in Rome or Florence or Venice. You can discover Milano in its little details, but now everybody is discovering it, and so we are cool. It became a very cool city and very cosmopolitan place, which wasn't before. So we have in our universities, I don't know how many, but really a very high number of foreign students, and this also kind of mix the people in the city in a very interesting way.
Well, it's also, its location is perfect if you already are in Paris or in Germany or even in any of the southern cities in Italy. Milano is kind of on the crossroads and a perfect place to visit even for the weekend.
But usually it was only a stopover for the flight. You came to Italy, you stop over in Milano, and then you went everywhere else. But now people actually stay here, and the rate of tourism is bigger and bigger every week and every month.
Yes, and we saw a lot of young people who get attracted
Yes.
to to new cool places
Yeah.
like this. But obviously Milano, to everybody, is also the hometown of a few famous people and few famous artists, one of them being Leonardo da Vinci. And we are here to kind of follow into his footsteps and discover all these wonderful things that are happening on the 500th anniversary of his passing, which Milano is celebrating maybe more than any other destination in the world.
Yes, Leonardo was not Milanese, he came from Tuscany, but he lived in Milano a very long time, enough time to become part of the city. There's a statue in front of Piazza della Scala, the statue of Leonardo, that all Milanese kids are very familiar with because it's called 1 liter in 4. And because the statue represents Leonardo with 4 of his pupils, so it's an expression to ask a bottle of wine for 4 friends, so it's very familiar. And then...
so in other words, he has a nickname,
yeah,
like something very familiar,
yes,
part of the family.
Exactly, it's part of the family, it's part of the city. And many important things in Milano made by Leonardo, and many traces of his presence here. One, the most famous is Santa Maria delle Grazie, of course, the Last Supper, and then the Codex Atlanticus in Pinacoteca Ambrosiana. But my favorite place is the vineyard that was restored 4 years ago in occasion of the Expo, the Universal Exposition. I think the Ministry of Agriculture had this project to restore the vineyard of Leonardo in the same place where it was. And it's inside a house that you can visit with a beautiful garden and the vineyard. That's really something that I think that never happened in other places.
So you can go for an afternoon in a park in the same place where
where
Leonardo da Vinci was actually walking about 500 years ago.
Yes, and probably in a few times we could also drink the same wine because they try to have the very same grape, the very same quality of grape that was planted back in the time.
Yes, so that means really walking in the footsteps
Yes.
of history. So for a contemporary Italian and for someone who is like a Milanese on top of it, is there an ongoing legacy of thought or of artistic achievement or scientific achievement of Leonardo that is still relevant to the everyday life?
I think that Leonardo is still relevant for everybody in any place of the world. Everybody who is curious, who has some curiosity, who knows that creativity comes with curiosity. Leonardo is a great example, maybe one of the greatest examples of the Renaissance man, because he was a great artist, a great painter, a great sculptor, a great architect, a great inventor. He knew about technology. He thought of an hydraulic system near Milano more than 500 years ago. So if you are a person with many interests and if you think that curiosity is maybe can kill the cat, but can help creativity, I think Leonardo is your man. And you have to look at his life, at his long life, his long and very interesting life with great passion.
Yeah, you talk about the fact that we live in the age of specialization, that everybody has just this incredibly narrow field of knowledge and expertise and is supposed to be very, very good at it, but never goes outside that because that's how our contemporary corporations or scientific life is constructed.
But yeah, it's how our civilization works. Back in the Renaissance, the idea of handling many different things was interesting and was encouraged by the people like the patrons of Leonardo. If you had a great idea for the construction of a machine and at the same time you would like to make a beautiful painting of a Madonna, the two things didn't clash. And it's like it wasn't an era, or maybe just some persons like Leonardo, where the two hemispheres of our brain were walking hand in hand and not separating themselves.
And that should be maybe our inspiration, at least for some of us.
It's a great inspiration. It's a great inspiration. Maybe it's very difficult that any of us has the talent and the creativity and the genius of Leonardo. No? We use the word genius for many things today. Probably it's overused in the wrong place.
Well, even if we call it versatility.
Yes, but for Leonardo, you can definitely use the word genius, and very appropriately.
Exactly. So the conclusion is that once has everybody checked out the major tourist destinations in Europe, I don't know, Paris or London, there is one that really merits a discovery or rediscovery.
Yes,
and
because it's very surprising. I think that Milano is really surprising, not only because of Leonardo and these events. Leonardo became also a kind of a pop culture idol, no? Because of the Da Vinci Code and stuff like that. But I think that all the city has a lot of things to discover that you cannot expect.
Exactly. Well, thank you very much. We're going to come back.
Okay, thank you very much.